ladies, and welcome very much to the Jeffrey Breedwell audiocast. My name is Mrs. Krabazazazaz, and I am going to be your reader today for the Jeffrey Breedwell blog that he has called Accuracy and Substance, When to Use Which. Make sure you go to his website. Yes?
Can I help you?
I'm just reading your copy here. Says you're wanting to go for the Accuracy and Substance website.
It's the blog. Accuracy versus Substance, When to Use Which.
Right, it's what I'm doing. I'm trying to make sure that I got, accuracy versus substance. We're going to have the blog here, whatever that blog means. We're going to read it to the people.
Yeah. I'm gonna read it to the people. You're not.
I'm not.
No.
You said I could do whatever I want.
That was last night. That wasn't this morning. Okay, you're supposed to be in there making pancakes. That's what you said you were going to be doing. You said you're going to be making pancakes the next morning.
Oh, right. What kind of flavor you want? I'll go bake them.
All right. Welcome to the Jeffrey Breedwell audiocast. And I'm sorry you had to be privy to that, but welcome to the Jeffrey Breedwell audiocast again. My name is Jeffrey Breedwell, and again, this blog is going to be on jeffreybreedwell.com/blog. That is GEOFFREY Breedwell, just like I would, breedwell.com/blog. Enjoy it. You can comment. You can go back and forth. And while you're there, you can subscribe to the Substack for all of the upcoming blogs that are happening. You can read more of the stuff. You can see some of the audio casts that we've had. Go back and do it. You can also follow it on Spotify and rate the show on Spotify, which would be amazing. So that's what we've got. And today we have the Accuracy versus Substance, When to Use Which. It is more of a writer tip based blog that was mainly kind of geared for that. Again, it was the last of the blogs that was written in a notepad document at my old work. So yeah, went in there, kind of, I didn't zhuzh it up, but went in there, kind of polished it up a little bit. And now I'm going to read it to you as we have it. So if we can go ahead, we're going to go ahead and let these targets fly. Accuracy versus Substance, When to Use Which. Here we go. I was 37. Sweat rolled from under my helmet onto the rim of my glasses before it fell to the concrete. The intense heat didn't help, as the sun reflected off the bowl. My breath, slow and labored. My red helmet was covered with stickers, and it helped people spot me from afar. Honestly, I thought my larger body did enough of that, but as a part of this contest, I just looked like some kid's dad. I was a competitor, and I just had the run of my life. The winner of the best trick competition, the announcer called over the PA system. I put my hands on top of my helmet in anticipation. It had nothing to do with how out of breath I was from the last trick I did. Flickety, twisty, bob down the steps. It had nothing to do with getting more air into my lungs and making me stand up to open my airways. Because I was totally not out of breath. Jeffrey Breedwell, he said. My mouth dropped. My arms shot up, hands and fists. I had won. For the first time in my life, I won. I dropped to my knees, overwhelmed by the pressure of joy and elation. Dozens of people surrounded me, landing on me, eventually causing us all to collapse in a big blob of body odor and skate pads. Did you believe that? Why wouldn't you? There's no reason not to believe it, unless you look closely. The story is false. And let me show you where the lies are. I took advantage of not being well known and placed in this scenario a few years ago. I've never won a skateboarding contest. I've never even entered a skateboarding contest. In all honesty, I'm terrible at skateboarding, but that's another issue entirely. So the idea of me winning a skateboard contest a few years ago, false. Another thing that was false was the trick name, Flickety Twisty Bob. There's no such thing as that trick in skateboarding as of right now. Granted, in a few years, it might be the one trick that every kid is trying, but I doubt it. The trick Flickety Twisty Bob? False. The story above had plenty of substance. Someone had not necessarily well versed in skateboard culture would believe that it actually happened. If it were placed in a book, it would be a fine beginning, ending, or even a plot point before everything went horribly wrong. There was substance in the story, but the accuracy was off. Which brings us to today's post. When does it matter to be more accurate than it does to have more substance? If you go too far on one side or the other, then you can lose the plot of your project. Too far to the accuracy side, and you're writing a biography or a piece for rooters. If you go too far to the substance side, you're writing a fantasy, or if you're a journalist, you're writing fake news. Let's not have your project, whether it's a blog, screenplay, novel, or news article, lose the plot and lose the reader. Here are 3 questions to ask yourself as you prepare to write. And please note, this is before writing. Number 1, who is the intended audience? This is a key question that needs to be answered before any writing takes place. It shapes the format, the plot, the dialogue, and the behavior of the characters in whatever project you're considering. If your audience is children, then using big words, mature themes, and intense situations isn't ideal for your work to see the light of day. The book, Just Put the VHS in the Bag, Bro, is not for children. I didn't intend it for children. However, because of the age of the phrase, just put the fries in the bag, bro, Generation Alpha is drawn to the book. While it is based on 2 high school seniors, the graphic nature of some of the content may make it suitable for an 18-plus crowd. But if a high school library wants to stock it because it's from a local author or heavily features their town, then who am I to say no? The intended audience began as young adult, YA, but borders on new adult, NA, which shares titles in their genre from time to time. Your intended audience is someone who can identify with or care for your main character. If your main character, MC, is a mother whose marriage is on the rocks, but she solves crimes, go for it. You've got some book club mystery right there. Conversely, if your MC is an 18-year-old with magical powers she uses to control the life she had no control over, then basing it as an adult book would only work if things go dark. If that latter book is happy, it's for young readers to middle grade at best. If the latter book is intense and horrifying, then you've got a YA horror or to adult horror, depending on the content. Either way, having accuracy as a part of your main character's behavior, dialogue, thoughts, and reactions is essential when writing younger characters. You can cheat a little bit with adult characters when set in the modern day. This level of accuracy would be key to your intended audience. If they find a character to identify with, they find a permission slip to connect to your story. Knowing your intended audience is key. How else will you know who to market the book to? Number 2, where is there more value, accuracy or substance? When it comes to your project, the story is the most valuable thing. But do you expel accuracy and truth at the expense of the substance of the story? Biography films are notorious for this. They will change moments from the story to add more substance and make something more dramatic than it actually was. Take the movie Rudy, for example. A biodrama about a young Hoosier boy who loves Notre Dame football so much that he dreams of playing for the team, doing whatever he can to play for them. He had all heart and no skill. It was a motivating movie that is often considered a must-watch for football season. Unfortunately, the movie's key scene isn't remotely true, and other moments of the film were taken out of order or glossed over. A 2019 article by ESPN writer Ryan McGee tells how Rudy's teammates never gave up their jerseys. Even quotes Joe Montana, who was the quarterback for Notre Dame in the game. as saying that Rudy was carried off the field by 3 of the most notorious pranksters in team history. They carried him off as a joke, which Rudy didn't seem to understand. Even worse, the biggest person who wanted Rudy's story to be made was Rudy himself. This is just one example of the facts being glazed, flubs, and fibbed for dramatic effect, i.e. substance. Reality can be boring and long. It won't often fit into a 90-minute film, but it will fit into a novel. With novels, writers have all the free space. Details make the substance of the story, and a single line can serve to gloss over the fact if pacing becomes an issue. Was there more value to add more substance to Rudy's story than what actually happened? Considering the movie cost approximately $12 million to make, and it made $22.8 million, making $50.25 million if adjusted for inflation, I'd say so. Number 3, what does the story justice? The story comes before everything else. It comes before the writer's ego, the director's experience, and even the cover artist's design. In fiction, having a captivating story is paramount. Drama, conflict, humor, sex, all of these things add to the plot and captivation. But do they assist the reader in immersing themselves in the book? Will the reader on the beach get sunburned because they can't put the book down? That's the question that ought to be asked when considering how to do a story justice. When the reader is captivated enough to lose themselves, to cast away their cares, inhibitions, and nerve endings, that is when a story has been done justly. What balance between accuracy and substance would give the story in your heart justice? The balance is in the level of detail. That's where accuracy matters the most. Accuracy in the details can make or break a story, regardless of how much planning went into the plot. If you've gone through all the plot holes and connections, but a detail is off, a new plot hole develops. Then your story ends up with loose ends when it wasn't supposed to. It can completely remove the reader from your work. This is where research comes into play. You cannot write what you know if you don't know it well enough to explain it to a 5-year-old. And that's what research is for. Many authors, including me, research their novels to an incredible degree, aimed to put the reader directly in the character's shoes. There's only so much detail that can be gained from imagination alone versus living through something like it. This is where accuracy shines, but a story overloaded with accuracy turns into a biography at best, and a poorly formatted research paper at its worst. The balance of substance and accuracy is a key portion of any project. You need the details to provide substance of material so engaging that people forget where they are, but not so bogged down with material that it would do better gathering digital dust. Metaphors, similes, and other comparisons paired with accurate descriptions paint the bones of a picture your reader automatically colors. It's your job to turn this balance into something worthwhile. You can do it. With all my heart, Jeffrey Breedwell. So that's going to be it. That is the accuracy versus substance, when to use which blog, and I really hope you enjoyed it.
I certainly did.
Did you make the pancakes?
Yes, I made the pancakes. The pancakes are made. Quite delicious. I made you blueberry.
You made me blueberry?
Yes, I made you blueberry.
Well, hot dang. Well, that's it for the blog. I'll be back next week, 5 a.m. on Wednesday, as always. Accuracy versus substance, when to use which. This is the Jeffrey Breedwell audiocast. I hope you enjoy. Please rate, please subscribe, and follow. I'll see you next time.
Now it's time for some pancakes.